All right, welcome to the first podcast of Potato Tomato. I left my PC on for 3 days and it's kind of making a weird noise right now. I wasn't home for these last 3 days and it's making like a loud noise. So hopefully this footage survives and my PC doesn't explode on me. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, okay? First off, I'm going to say this, man. Detroit is going to the Super Bowl. I don't care what anybody says. Detroit is going to the Super Bowl, and we're smacking whoever's in that Super Bowl. There's been a good couple games on there, honestly. What was it? I want to know the score. I think the Bills. Let me see what the Bills. Where'd the Bills go? The Bills went 27-24 with the Chiefs. Now, that is crazy, honestly, because I for sure had the Bills winning that one. San Francisco was a crazy game too against the Packers. Really, Green Bay got smacked, so I'm not really mad about that one. But the Bills, I really thought the Chiefs were gonna. I really thought the Bills would smack them. You know, it was 27-24. And I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just like a Mahomes hater. I don't really care for the guy, to be honest, because I don't see him. He's good. He's a good football player. I don't know what it is, man, about him. Maybe it's his brother. I don't know. But I really don't care for Mahomes like that. But I really wanted to see the Bills continue going because Bills have been down. Just like the Lions, the Bills have been down for a minute too. Although they didn't have their good years. But, bro, the Lions coming up this year is ridiculous. And it hurts me as a fan too. It hurts me as a fan too because I see everybody saying it's America's favorite team now. America's favorite team. And it sucks now, dude, because when I was going to the games, the tickets were going for like $50. 50 to $100 when I was going to the games. And all of a sudden they started doing good. And then you got all these bandwagoners coming in. It's like $1,000 a ticket. It's crazy. I mean, it is the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. It is the playoffs, and they haven't made it to the playoffs in 30 years, which is ridiculous. But yeah, man, that kind of did hurt me. And then we had the Ravens versus Texans, 10-34. Everybody, and I say this right now, everybody is rooting for the Ravens. I think everybody's rooting for the Ravens because they're going against Kansas City, bro. And I see like so many TikTok edits of Lamar, and it's crazy. I'm trying to think of what they're calling them. They're calling them something. I can't remember what it was. But everybody wants the Ravens to beat the Chiefs. And I'm there with them too because I don't know. I think the whole thing going around with it's tough to say, bro, because I feel like just like with boxing, football is becoming more like the new boxing, where it's just like it's all shits and giggles now. You know what I mean? Like with Taylor Swift coming into the picture and all this stuff, like it's becoming more and more into like one of those like clown shows, like slowly but surely. But I mean, the Chiefs, I like the Chiefs. You know, I like the players on the Chiefs. But I do want to see someone new this year, and I do want to see Ravens go all the way. Now, to talk about the Buccaneers, there's a TikTok on that Jinxie did, and the Detroit Lions actually ended up reposting it. And let me tell you this right now, dude, that was the funniest shit I ever seen in my life. Like, I don't know what it is, but TikTok, like a lot of these TikTok fan like corporation things are starting to do like meme advertisements and stuff, but by far that Lions one was the best one I ever seen. Now, do I think we're going to take it over the 49ers? I have faith. I think we are. But no matter what, if we lose this game, I'm not mad about it. We made it farther than we ever have in years. And what really hurts me the most, I think, is the fact that Megatron, Barry Sanders, just all the great players we had on our team, Golden Tate, Matthew Stafford, for instance, but he got a ring with a different team. But I really would love to see them win with our team, win a ring. But unfortunately not. And actually, we did Matthew Stafford dirty when he came back. Apparently, everybody was booing him and making fun of him and stuff. It was something like that. Which you do gotta understand, bro, that you've been in that environment and you know how the Detroit fans are. Like, you know how they are. There's no way you don't know being on a team for what? how many years was it? I want to say it was like 10 or 11. You don't, like, there's no way you don't understand how our fan systems work. Dude, I've been to Detroit games, Lions games, bro. And there's been mosh pits out there of them beating up different fans. And then sometimes it'd be fans fighting the other fan of Detroit Lions. You know what I mean? So you got to know that you've been on this team for a long time. And I think that you can't really take it that seriously, because then again, you know, it is messed up. He did do a lot for us over the years, but you're coming to a home team, and Detroit Lions, man. It's not me justifying it, but it's me saying it's our fans, and you know how our fans are and how much it meant to us. And also, you got to think, bro, that we've been shot down so many times, you know what I mean, through the season. I think they're going crazy this year, man. Dan Campbell is just ridiculous. It was about time we actually got a good head coach, because the guy before him and then the other ones, dude, was just terrible. But I want to see a Lions-Ravens Super Bowl. I have faith in it. But I seen on the news, they're already talking about Ravens versus Lions already, bro. So that's kind of disgusting. Or they're saying Ravens versus Sixers. Why am I saying Sixers? San Francisco. I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. Yeah, so I'm really hoping that it is the Lions. But if it ain't, and it's the San Francisco versus Ravens, I'm cool with it, because it's a run back from last season. And I said already, Detroit already came up farther than what they have. You know what I mean? Just, man. And then, you know what the crazy thing is also to think about is with Goff. I've been saying this ever since he first came into the team, is you got to give him a chance. In that first season he came to us and we did absolutely horrible. Or it wasn't, yeah, it was bad. I already said it, bro. You got to give him a chance to warm up to that team, bro. And just the way we got our other picks off, like the first round picks, was by far the best thing we could have ever done. And I think that what they built on the Lions is just 10 times better than what they've been doing way before. And I will say this now. I think our weakness against the San Francisco is probably going to be our O-line, bro. And that's the only thing I'm thinking about is probably going to be our O-line, because last game with the Buccaneers, we were getting destroyed on the O-line. Now, there was a couple times we did do good, but we were getting destroyed on that O-line, boy. That was ridiculous. I'm not going to lie to you. Also, another thing, bro. I've been sick for the longest, and I don't know how to get rid of this cough. And I've been doing everything between Mullen and all this crazy stuff, bro. I just can't get rid of this cough, and I don't know what it is. I think it's that new, I think I went through that new, what is it, RVS? It's some weird sickness, a new sickness that's coming around. Well, it's been around, but, like, it's stronger now, like the supposed COVID going on. But, yeah, dude, I can't get rid of this sickness at all. At all. I don't know what it is. But, yeah, dude, Lions, I really hope the Lions make it all the way. I have faith, but I think our downfall is probably going to be the O-line, bro. And Ravens are dogs. I'm not going to lie to you. The Ravens are some dogs this year, bro. Watching them play is ridiculous. Now, I really wanted to see Texans, even though I'm not an Ohio State. I hate Ohio State, okay? I hate them. I don't hate them. I don't like them, should I say, because I don't use hate as a big word. But seeing their quarterback, bro, and how humble he is, and just, you know, him talk about God and, like, Christian and stuff. Like, it's really cool to see someone like that in the NFL and still talk about it even when losing and keeping a good chin up. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. I think you give him, like, 2 years. I say 2 years, bro. I give him a good 2 years, and he'll end up, like, going crazy. That's what I believe of for the Texans. They got a chance, bro. They did crazy this year, and I would have loved to see him go to the next round. But, you know, Ravens, like I said, Ravens could be the savior of all this, you know. Who knows? But yeah, I just think that with the way the NFL is going and the way everything else is turned into, bro, everything's turned into a big fucking joke. And it gets to the point where just like everything is annoying now, you know what I mean? Like, everything's just so annoying now, dude, because it's just like everything's like a meme culture now, where it's just stupid edits or like stupid people bringing people in and making drama out of a sport. And it's just like, dude, it gets to the point where it's just like, like, take for instance boxing. YouTuber boxing was probably the worst thing ever made, bro, because if you think about it, like, yeah, it brought people to the sport, but you got to understand that these people out here that are flying to Taiwan and what's the other place? Tijuana. Tijuana is a big one they go to fight for pro boxing. You got to think, bro, like, all these people put in work ever since they're like 11, 10, 8, younger ages, and even if you even started at 15, you know what I mean? And I think it's just sad to see that, like, because, like, even the UFC is turning into a wet blanket, bro, because there's just too much clowning in it now. And I'm not taking away the credit that these guys are good, because they are pretty good. But it's just everything's turning into like just a joke for everything. Hold on, my thing turned off. Looks like we're going with the lights. Who knows, man? Maybe I don't got no credible source in it, but I just don't know, man, because the way everything's turned into like a big joke, I just think that it's ruining everything culture-wise, just everything. It's just not. It's not saying that it's not cool that everything's not being taken seriously, but I just think that everything in the world right now is just a big fucking joke, and everybody's just like, well, who cares? We're not gonna do nothing about it, which is like turns into like that. It's gonna soon turn into like, why bother? Which I already think we hit that, is like, why bother with anything? Because, like I said, the real people who took over everything is like money greedy, and there's no respect in nothing no more. Like, there's no respect. There's too many Connors out there. There's just too many personas out there that are just turning into like this sell the fight more so you can get more money, and it's just turned into like that. It's just not enjoyable to watch anymore, to be honest. And I don't know, man. Half of me feels like sometimes it's rigged, because I used to be into this thing called gematria, where a lot of it like seemed rigged and stuff. But like I said, I don't know, because I never really sat there and like studied it as too much of it. But I just think that the way things are going, how everything's turned into a big joke and everything, it ruins everything. It honestly does. It ruins everything. But yeah. Speaking of UFC, the Strickland versus Duplessis. It was a good fight. It was by far a good fight. I scored. I believe in the score with Dana White. I believe in that score way more than what the judges scored it, because if you look at Duplessis' face, dude, his face was fucked up. I'm talking about like his eyes, bro. It looked like his eyes were just gonna pop out at any second. But I think it was a good fight. I still think Strickland should have kept the title. See, I wasn't a big fan of Strickland before when he was fighting Izzy. I don't know why I said Izzy. When he was fighting Izzy, bro, I'm a big fan of Izzy. Just his fighting style and stuff. And plus, he's like me. He likes anime and stuff. But hearing Strickland's backstory and what he came through to become the UFC champ, and just like, yeah, he's probably a piece of shit guy, but you gotta understand, a lot of stuff he says is true. And once you get past all that, because like his story hits way closer to home with mine, and I think that I'm on that same timing to where like our jokes, our dark humor jokes, like there's stuff I'll tell people from like my childhood or something like that I thought was funny, and they're like dead ass like look me in the face and be like, dude, are you okay? Like, that wasn't funny at all. But then at me, I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's funny. I think which I think a lot of us do, you know. I think a lot of us have been through things that none of us can, how do you say it? None of us can shoot down each other's story, even if it's not worser than the next person's. I think that in some type of way, there is trauma with everybody, no matter if it's the slightest, no matter if it's just something that happened for a day. You know what I mean? I think a lot of that stuff, a lot of that stuff sticks. And another thing I was reading into was, or that scientist thing, which I always believed it because I'm Christian, is the generational curses, but not also curses trauma. You know, like that being passed down to, like, think about how crazy that would be if like one of your ancestors drowned out there in the water, and then that's why you're terrified of like open water. You know what I mean? I think that's I think that that is a real thing, and I think every person, no matter what it is, like for instance, how do you say it? For instance, with with me, I drowned like over like umpteen times. I think the counting on it is like close to 10 is how many times I could have drowned because I just throw myself in the water when I was younger. And and surprisingly it didn't give me a trauma because I kind of loved swimming. I still love swimming to this day. But I think that stuff like that, like with like I can't stay, like say if I'm in the bathtub, I can't stay underwater for too long because I instantly start panicking. Or say like if the water is hitting my face, I instantly start panicking. Like I can hold my breath under the shower head, but I think give me like 5 seconds under there and I'm starting to struggle and I'm over here getting scared. See, I think that just the fact that we all inherit traumas differently, you know what I mean, and not shooting down anybody else's, but I do think that, you know, there's ways that you just gotta man up and, you know, just take charge. You gotta take charge of that stuff. But I do believe that there's a thing where you do carry it down from ancestors. Like, imagine if like for instance, how do I put this? I'm thinking. Say like being scared of a dog. You know what I mean? Like you were scared of a dog ever since younger. You hear the barking, you hear the growling, and you're instantly scared. Like imagine if one of your ancestors were one of those people back then that got tore apart by dogs or something, you know, crazy rabid, or even like coyotes or something. You know what I mean? Damn. Now I think about it, that's crazy. I think it's passed down. I think traumas can be passed down through generations, and I do believe in generational curses. Uh, there's one where it's like the alcoholic gene. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called the alcoholic gene, and it's where if your parents were alcoholics and you have that urge to like pick up a bottle, but instead of stopping after one drink, that gene activates and you just keep going and going and going. And that's how I am too, for real. That's why I stay away from alcohol as much, because my mom was alcoholic, so was my father. And I think I do have that gene, because like there's times where I just picked up a bottle, dude, and I just won't stop. And I just keep going and keep going and keep going. But I think that we carry down those genes from our ancestors. And to think about it, you know, that's crazy to think about, because like what if one of my ancestors were like swallowed by a shark or something, you know? Which is probably didn't happen, but you never know. You never know. But yeah, dude, I think about it, traumas are really crazy. To think that like because the way I think of them is I don't know if you guys ever watched Sopranos, when he was like, "What happened to the tough men?" There's a scene where Tony Soprano is talking about like what happened to the tough guys, the silent guys, the one that's like would get hurt and stay silent. You know what I mean? And although I think that is, we're more open in this generation now, to where a lot of things they did back then, where they just, you know, kept it stored away. Like there's psychiatrists now, there's therapy, there's so much now to get your traumas out. Do I think that's such a good thing? I think for nowadays, my nose hairs are coming back. I don't know what keeps itching my nose. I think for nowadays, because you got to kind of look at it like a culture shock, because we are way different now than what we were back then. You know what I mean? Because the people were being in coal mines, the oil diggers and all this stuff. Like nowadays, everything's so sensitive. Everything's so sensitive, and you can't talk about nothing. You can't say truth. You got to abide by everybody's rules, and you got to care about the next person's feelings. And I think that's the problem, honestly, is the fact that nobody speaks up anymore, and nobody actually says the truth, and everybody pipes down because they're scared of being singled out, which is in the human anonymity, and you know what I mean. But I think that it's somewhat, because I was, how do you say it? I was alone for a long time. I was the fat kid, the one that didn't get girlfriends, the one that didn't, fit in with anybody, didn't fit in with no crowd, even though I tried to all the time. And when I officially started to lose weight, I used it as fuel. And I think that is probably the most healthy way to get rid of it, is using it for fuel, and like working out, or like you thinking in the back of your head while you're working hard on a goal for something, and you're like, oh yeah, well look now. But then you also got to look at it like, you got to turn that into like, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for me. And a lot of it is just forgiving yourself, to be honest. That's how I learned to like look at everything, is just forgiveful, because it's true that the devil wins when you let that person in your head 24/7. Like when people actually say you're letting that person live in your head rent free, like they're not lying. Like that's so truthful, because I think once you forgive and you just walk away from a situation, or you're just like, hey, I got to go on and do my own thing now, which is a lot of people, especially me, was really, really hard to do, really hard. But I think taking it one day at a time, and actually sitting there and actually looking forward to the next day, that's what you got to do, is live day by day and just look forward to the next day. Never looking in the future too much, and never looking in the past. And just live for the now, the present. And I think that's the key to dealing with those type of traumas. And also I believe in, praying and, coming to Jesus for your stuff too, is also, I believe. But I think there's still a lot of work that you got to do to help along with the process. You know what I mean? Like you can't take a horse to the river and make it drink the water. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, that's what I really think about traumas. And also talking about another thing is Last of Us 2. The Last of Us 2 game remastered. Last of Us 2 remastered came out the beginning of this month or the middle. I think it was it was like a week ago. And let me tell you this right now, is I actually got into an argument with this about the people in my PSN party, is I believe it is a bad game. And a lot of people hate me for it. But listen and hear what I got to say, okay? Let's start off for where Last of Us came out, okay? Hold on, let me see. It was 2013, wasn't it? 2013, I believe it came out. Last of Us. See, look, now don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on the show. Hold on. Yeah, 2013, okay? Yeah, it was 2013. So think about it. 2013, I was 13 at the age playing this game about zombies. And let me tell you this right now. The part where you get to those buildings and the clickers, when you're running away from that squad that's chasing you down, the militia. let me tell you this right now, bro. Terrified. I was so terrified. I rented it from Family Video, bro, and I was so terrified to play that part that I rented it for 5 days, played it once, and never played it again. And then a week later, I went back and got it, and then I beat it. But you got to think, 2013, this game came out. So 2013, in this timeline, we are, and especially hits home for me, is a lot of people that play this game see Joel as a fatherly figure. And we see this relationship developing over the game. And you start to fall in love with the characters. Like, for instance, the way they did Bill in the show, and instead of doing Bill in the game. And a lot of people go, oh, but the show gave him more characteristics. That's not who Bill was. That's not who Bill was in the game. Bill in the game was this guy that teaches Joel how to make traps and was an asshole and was super naive. And it made the combination of Bill and Ellie come together and make a good, I won't say duo, but brought a new experience to the game. But anyways, so 2013, we saw this fantastic game turn into like this amazing relationship that this dude that hated her in the beginning slowly started warming up, and then the girl in the beginning loved Joel and slowly started going distance until the end. So we see this relationship starting in this game, and we're like, okay, well, we can't wait for the next game. We can't wait for the next game. You know, we can't wait for Last of Us 2. We're going to see more Joel and Ellie. And then we get to Last of Us 2. And you kill Joel off in an hour into the game. Like, imagine you waiting all this time to continue the relationship and you knock it off right there. And I see a lot of people defend it and they go, well, Joel wasn't a good person. He killed people and he robbed people. And then I go, it's the apocalypse. What do you think you're going to be doing if you were in an apocalypse? You're not going to go, oh, I'm going to go off and start my own garden, start my own place. No, because you're going to deal with robbers, bandits. You're going to deal with people that turn cultist. You're going to think about the sickness, if there is zombies. Like, there's so much to put into it. And then people go, well, Joel, he was such a bad person. What do you think the apocalypse makes you into? Once the apocalypse happens, it's survival mode. I mean, just look at COVID. Just look at COVID, the way people were turning on each other because you weren't vaccinated or you weren't wearing a mask. So put that into perspective, and then put Last of Us into perspective. And seeing how something not so drastic, like COVID, turned people against each other. And then think about Last of Us, about what's going on there and what made them turn their backs on each other because they have a higher threat. You know what I mean? So you got to think about it, bro. It's the apocalypse, okay? So first off, you kill Joe. In the first game, they hint at how much of a bad person he was. And he was struggling with it. You can tell he was struggling with it through the whole game. But then he goes, it was survival. So then we get to this one, and you could have at least let us play I understand with Joel dying, okay? He was old. I'm cool with that. He could have died. I'm fine with that. But you could have gave us more screen time of Ellie and Joel together before you killed him off. And then he dies off a stupid way. He dies off to where, because he killed not a significant character in the last game, you guys just took a character that didn't matter, all of a sudden matter, give him his own storyline, made his daughter into a brolic woman, just because you can show how powerful she was. And Ellie, like, you already got satisfied. Bill was gay in the first one. Ellie's gay. Ellie's lesbian. You already got what you wanted, so you didn't need to keep this base going into the second one. Because we already know what it was from the beginning. We already knew when we found Bill's lover. We already knew when Ellie said, I'm not into dudes when she looked at the porno mag. We already knew that. So my thing is, yeah, okay, you can argue the fact that what he did was messed up. And there's consequences in this world. There's consequences in this world. Okay? There is. But you can also look at, you could have gave us more time besides the flashbacks to go to experience more with Joel and Ellie before you just instantly murdered him in the first one. In the first hour. Okay? And then he dies. Like, if you think about it, he dies stupidly. He dies stupidly once you think about it. Because he went out there to go rescue a group that he had no knowledge of. They could have been bandits. They could have been, like, he wouldn't have been like, you know, hey, how you guys doing? He would have been asking what they're doing out here. You know what I mean? So he saved this chick, Abby. And then Abby instantly beats his head in with the golf club. You know? And then lets Ellie live. And then we see a whole thing. Like, you look at it and it goes, okay, it's a game about forgiveness. It's a game about forgiveness. I understand. I like the premise of it. I understand. But my thing is, you pushed a narrative too far. Just like adding the trans kid in. Just adding more and more of like this culture shock to it that didn't matter. That didn't matter. You turned a whole game to where these two main characters, and I'm saying this right now because I'm a Naughty Dog fanboy. I love Uncharted. I love Jak and Daxter. Jak and Daxter is like one of my favorite games. Okay? But the way you played this game out and you made it into like this, oh, Ellie can do her own thing. Ellie's going to go and get revenge. Ellie's going to do this. Ellie's going to do that. Where the basis of it is beautiful. But you did a culture shock on the video game that didn't need to be done. That didn't need to be done. Now, the game mechanic in it, 10 out of 10. Everything about it, 10 out of 10 besides the story for me. And I just think that if you would let us, like I said, I'm not mad that Joel died. Joel deserved to die. Everybody in that universe deserves to die. Ellie shot a bandit in the first one. Bill probably killed innocent people in the first one. Joel, Tommy, Maria, all those people have stories. But the fact that we keep playing it off as if like they're not in the apocalypse. You know, that they're not in the apocalypse and they're not surviving. You know, that was my problem with the show too, is you made this guy, Joel, super, super soft in the beginning. And you keep playing him as if like, yeah, what he did was bad and he's an asshole and he did this, he did that, but you don't take into the factor that this is the apocalypse. It's the apocalypse and they are fighting for more than survival. They're getting chased by clickers, bloaters, runners, everything. They're getting chased by every little thing in that universe. So, of course, they're going to kill innocent people. Of course, they're going to be... Because think about it like nowadays. What if that was in real life? You're going to do the same thing. And for somebody across the screen to tell me, you know, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Yes, you would. Yeah, especially nowadays. The way people turn on each other on COVID. If you were to add a zombie apocalypse to it, you would have definitely changed that whole premise. And then the game is like... I understand the forgiving. Because... I agree, what Joel did, it wasn't wrong. Because just like, if you have a little sister, if you have a daughter out there, you probably would have done the same thing. The same exact thing. You know? And like I said, you can argue it's consequences on consequences on consequences. But you got to also understand that the apocalypse, bro, like no matter what, it isn't this sunshine and rainbow thing. You know? The same thing with Just the same thing with any other zombie movies. You see people, like, I like the zombie movies that, like, say for instance Dawn of the Dead. You can actually see people be humans, you know. And yeah, there was that one nurse that was like, oh well, I can help them, but then it really turned on her ASAP, and then they turned into what they know and what they know of for zombies. I love the Last of Us franchise, bro. I do. I have a problem with the way 2 was laid out. Like I said, I don't mind Joel dying. He was old. He was gonna die sooner or later. I think you could have gave us more screen time with them, and you could at least gave us a little bit more of an experience than flashbacks, or at least let it build up a little bit to his death. You know what I mean? Because Ellie was mad at him in the beginning because of what she found out, right? But you could at least give us a little bit of that, like, him still trying to step in at least a little bit longer and then kill them off. And then I would have been like, okay, no, I'm not mad about it. Man, I love Last of Us. Last of Us is actually a really, really good game now that I think about it. Last of Us is a fantastic game. But like I said, the way 2 was I'll tell you what, this Naughty Dog. Release factions and you have no more bad blood with me. Okay? Just release fractions. And no more bad blood with me, okay? That's all I'm asking for. That's all I need to save my gaming life right now. Is I just need you guys to drop that for me, the multiplayer, and then I'm not on bad terms. I'm not on bad terms, bro. You guys can have it. You guys can have everything you want. You can make the third game into where it's horse girls chasing each other. I don't care. Just as long as you drop this multiplayer game, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? I'm way more happier than that. But we're about to reach 40 minutes. I was only trying to do 30 minutes of this. Yeah. And then I'm not gonna start on the TV show. TV show is by far 10 times worse than what it was supposed to be. But yeah, man, Fractions is a good multiplayer, bro. I always loved Naughty Dog's multiplayer. Like Uncharted 4, their multiplayer, amazing. Their multiplayer was so good, bro. And when I had nothing else to play, all I would play was Uncharted 4 multiplayer. Is there even a player base for that anymore? I wonder if there's any active players for Uncharted 4. Let me see. Let's see. Player count 2023. Oh, I can't see the statistics. I think they shut it down, didn't they? I think they shut it down. Let's see. Oh, you know what? It's still going, but I think it has a hacker problem. Just like any old games. Just like any old games. They always have that hacker problem that goes into the server. No, you know what we need though? That will really save. We need a project from Rockstar. And we need a Max Payne multiplayer. Where it's just like multiplayer with all the Rockstar characters in it. Or like team death matches and stuff. Like bringing back the old GTA 4 team death matches. And bringing them into GTA 5. GTA 5 is fun. But I'm getting tired of getting killed by the guys on the rocket bikes. What are they called? Insurgents? Something. Interceptors? Something weird. Yeah, that's what really killed GTA 5 for me. But we need a Max Payne multiplayer, bro. That multiplayer was goated. Okay? That was a goated multiplayer. But I'm reaching 40 minutes, so I gotta end this podcast. Thank you for listening to the first ever Potato Tomato podcast. There will be more in the future. Right now, this is just kind of testing the waters right now. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode.